cocoon almost. Basically, so they're saying that this force is not a force that's out and about like everything else. So they put him in a cocoon or, wrap him up. Another thing about him, his skin is always painted green. Green is associated with fertility and growth. When you look at the deity Khonshu, he has a long beard, a child with a long beard. He has an Osar Amun beard. Another thing about this deity Khonshu is he has a side lock. I don't know. So now you see Khonshu has a side lock on his head, a long lock of hair that goes on one side. Another thing about Khonshu is that Khonshu has a scully on his head. He has a scully that's similar to the scully worn by Ptah. Ptah is force of creation, the force behind artists, scribes, and builders. Ptah is a force that the ancestors were basically describing, that anybody who's creative, anybody who likes is in the arts, anybody who's into building, they say you're embodied with the spirit of Ptah. The word for spirit is the Ka. So they call anybody who is involved with Ptah, they say that you had the spirit of Ptah. Eventually, the spirit of Ptah is where you get the term Ka Ptah. Ka means referring to spirit, Ptah. Ka Ptah eventually became carpenter. So that's where you get the term carpenter, because they're saying that you embody the spirit of Ptah. Another spell that goes back to the deity Ptah, Ptah was said to be the spirit behind sculptors. So eventually, because Ptah has a scully on his head, he has a blue scully, you get the term skull Ptah. So now you know why they call them sculptors. Basically, I said, you have to go through almost every language to connect the dots and see how all these words, these spells, sorcerers, basically you have to find out the source of all these spells come from. So now you get the term skull Ptah. So as I said, Khonshu, getting back to Khonshu. Khonshu, the child deity, wears a blue scully on his head. Interestingly, this deity also has symbols in his hands. So when you look at in his hands, he's holding the Uas symbol. He's also holding the Jet symbol of stability. He's holding the Ankh symbol, the symbol for reproductive and life. He's also holding the crook and the flail in his hands. You're like, why would the ancestors put all these symbols on a child deity? Like, they put him in the same, all these symbols, like, he has Ptah symbol, he has Osar symbol, he has a green skin, why they just put, he's associated with the moon on his head, he has the symbol on his head is the moon. So now we went through the baboon, the deity on the moon, we went through Heruhet, associated with the moon, we went through Jehuti with the moon, now we're going to the last major deity of the moon, Khonshu. Now let me ask you something. Where have you seen all these terms and all these deities being used today? Where have you seen people who wear scullies on their head? Where have you seen people who use side locks on the side of their hair? Where have you seen people who walk around with long beards? And you basically just have to start looking for yourself. Nobody can tell you this stuff. You have to see it for yourself and see where it goes back to. Where have you seen all these terms? Where have you seen the people that is associated with the term Jehuti calling themselves Jews? Have you seen these Jews wearing side locks lately? Have you seen these Jehutis wearing long beards lately? Have you seen these Jehuti, the god of wisdom and study and knowledge, wearing a scully on their head? Have people noticed that the term scully is what is your skull used for? Your skull is used, where is your skull? It's on your head. It's in your dome. So now you know why they call it a wisdom or a wise dome, because your brain is in your dome. So now you know why they call it a dome. And then Jehuti's force, his power works through your head. He works through your dome. This is why the ancestors, or Khonshu, wears the dome or the skull on his head. So now eventually, now you know why when this information entered into Germany after the fall of the Roman Empire, you get the term skull, because when you want to learn, you got to go to skull to learn, or school, because the knowledge is in your head, so you go to school. Eventually, when you go to school, you become a scholar. So now they call you a scholar, because you've mastered the knowledge in your brain. So basically, I'm saying I'll trace it back to the source and just show you how it's slowly.
real quick, so what about skull and bones, brother? We've seen that become a fashion trend over the past recent years. What about skull and that's? And a lot of people said, "Oh, that's evil." Well, what's going on with that? Skull and bones.
All right. I'll just briefly get into it. As I said, it began in Germany. Now I told you the term skull comes from Germany. Skull dealing with knowledge, dealing with sacred knowledge. It also deals with resurrection. The time of resurrection is March 21st to the 22nd, so you have 322, which is March 22nd. It deals with Osar. Osar symbol is X. So when you see an X, you're dealing with resurrection because Osar has his arm or his symbol shaped in the letter X. So, there's a lot of other stuff, but I don't really want to get deep into that. But I just briefly told you, now you know why it goes back to the, and when you look at the constellation of Osar, he has no head. When you look at the constellation of Orion, he has no legs. His leg bones are gone. So you do the math, and where have you seen leg bones and skulls before? But and coffins. But yeah, just keep it moving.
Yeah, no, go ahead, brother. Just go ahead. We got about 20 minutes left, y'all. Hold up, 20 minutes left. Call the number if you would like to listen live on the telephone, 646-727-2039. With the brother Ron Mar. Check out his website, www.ramomart.com. Go ahead, brother.
So basically now, as I said, I'm just trying to show people that's why from now on, everybody is going to be waiting for the sun to rise again. Basically, they made sure that until then, everybody's worshiping a dead sun. So now, the sun people's consciousness are attached to the sun, so during this period, the sun people's consciousness is going to be considered dead. Now, for the moon people, it will be easy pickings to group up these sun people to get them to do stuff that they need them to do to benefit themselves. So during these periods, they'll have you worshiping a dead sun, and they keep telling you that one day he's going to come back, or Neberu is going to come back, because as I said, Neberu refers to the golden days. Nebu means gold, Ru means light or the sun. So they basically have people waiting, looking up in the sky, waiting for the golden day or the golden sun to return one day. And, people just going to be sitting there and almost wasting time, not realizing what they're really trying to tell you. It's like, people just need to understand where you are and where you have to go. All you have to do is really, one thing I wanted to really, remember I was trying to tell you that people using certain spells today thinking it's going to help them is really not, and I have to basically break down why. When you deal with the ancient languages, what they've done is, as I said, I just showed you how every word you can trace every sound back to an animal or nature. What they noticed was, as I said, when people come back, you never come back in the same vessel for one. So if you lived in India in this life, your next life you're not going to. You can if you want to come back in India, but you're mostly going to come incarnate or miss or be born in another area. So what they knew was you can never trust this knowledge to really be encoded with people. Certain people come back with certain information depending on how strong their soul is or how much studying they did the last life. But for most people, it's still not good to trust this knowledge in humans. So what they did is they chose something that was eternal, something they knew that would never change, no matter how many thousands of years go by. And the only thing they noticed that seemed to stay the same was the stars, the moon, and animals. Animals, no matter how many thousands of years, that baboon is still going to be in the jungle going, yahoo, yahoo, yahoo. And he's always going to be a messenger. That's why today, in today's language, you get the term Yahoo messenger, because it's referring to the messenger or the moon. Because when you want to get some information, you got to go to Yahoo and, find your information. As I said, today it's still being used. So going back from a baboon 10,000 years ago, pre-dynastic and stuff like that, it's still being used to this day when you go to your Yahoo account. What was I trying to say? Basically, I was trying to make the point that the languages back then, what they were trying to do, they were trying to attach symbols and sound. One half of your brain works with symbols, which is to see with your two eyes. The other half works with vibration and sound. These two come together to activate the left and right side of your brain. So basically, all the ancient languages in the Golden Ages, Maya, Inca, India, Persian, all of them were basically used to activate one side and left side of your brain. What you have to understand now, when the dark ages come, is going to very slowly stop that process, because now, believe it or not, most of the stuff we speak today, we're actually using half a brain. Why do I say we use half a brain? When you're dealing with English, which is really just a combination of made-up words, made-up spells to backwards from Hebrew, Latin, Greek, there's all the different meta nature, a lot of languages compiling it. When you're dealing with English, you're dealing with a language that's basically like put in a pot and just stir it together and just give it to people. There's a reason the powers that be want everybody to speak English, because they know as long as you speak English, it's eventually going to put you on half a brain. Once you're on the level of a half-brained person, they can fill up the other side you're not using with stuff to buy, stuff to watch, stuff to be scared of, and they'll basically maintain control through you using half a brain. No matter what type of scriptures you try to read in English, it will always have that effect. Let me give an example of what I mean why English is not a proper language to be trying to, this type, I don't read books for this stuff, so that's why I know you can't. The Spirit told me you can never try to find a real source of information in English. English basically severs its connection from nature. That's why since, the English has taken over, all the animals and everything else, the forest, everything has been destroyed, because English doesn't work with nature. Everything with English goes against it. And let me just give you a few spells to demonstrate the difference between the ancient languages and the modern languages. For example, in today's language, you have a term called, let me see a spell, belief. When you say the term belief, you're not actually saying what you think you're saying. They tell you, if you go in the dictionary, they tell you what it is. But when you decipher what they've done with the spells, certain spells they train into your psyche since you're a child. So when you're a child, they keep ringing in your head that the word be means to be in your person, to be, they give you words to use be with. Then they give you the term lie. So they tell you when you're a child what lie is. Lie is when you don't tell the truth, da-da-da-da-da. Then if it's associated with Eve and evil and stuff like that. When you get older now, they give you a big word and put them all together. You get the term be, lie, if. Be naive, or you believe in me, you're believing in a lie. So the spell is actually the reverse effect of what they're telling you it is. They tell you believe means the truth. When you decipher the spell, it says be, lie. So to believe something, I believe in him, he's here to save me, to believe in a lie. So now that's just giving you quick examples of how English is very tricky. Let me give you another spell, a simple one. You get the term medicine. When everybody likes taking their medicine, your family takes some medicine, she has to get her medication. When you break the spell behind medicine, you get the term me, which is you, which is your person, and you get the term die, which is to die, sin. So when you break the spell in English, me die sin basically means me die sin, me die soon, or whatever you want to say. So now you know why everybody who take their medicine always die, because that's what they've been telling themselves. So eventually the spell does exactly what you want it to do. Another spell I'll demonstrate is the term technology. We are going into the digital age. We're transferring now to the cybernetic age. Everything's going to be, for the next 50 years, everything's going to eventually lead to robots, fusing humans with technology, cloning, DNA, space travel. But the term technology is not actually, when you decipher what the spell means, you have to actually observe what the spell has done to people. Every time people say that it's a good thing, you're getting more technologically advanced, you actually have to understand that it's actually doing the opposite effect on people. Have you ever noticed that every time new technology comes out, people seem to become more dumber? Meaning, you're thinking that the more, more technology, everything's getting more advanced, but at the same time, it seems like there's more ignorant people at the same time. You're like, what's going on? I thought technology is supposed to uplift people. But when you break the spell, you see the spell is like, you cannot be mad at this stuff, because the spell tells you if you didn't pay attention, it's not their fault. It's actually telling you
One real quick example, brother, is me and you talked in person about how I would say about 10, 15 years ago, we would remember 15 phone numbers in our head. Today, presently, brother, honestly, I don't know your phone number, brother. Your number in my phone is Ra Omar, and I don't know your phone number. So that's just one example of how technology takes away, like what you just said, from our knowledge, because I don't know your number by heart. If I lost my phone and I had to contact you, I couldn't. All I know is it says Ra Omar on my phone, so you're exactly right.